Welcome to my Chinese Takeaway cook along. Tonight I'm going to be cooking my Singapore chow mein. I'm doing king prawns, as you all know. I'm a big fan of king prawns, and I'm doing chicken tomorrow night in the cook along. But you can do any meat or any protein that you want. So if you are thinking about joining in tonight and you want to go and grab your tofu, your mushrooms, pork, chicken, beef out of the fridge, if you haven't done so already, go and grab that. And we'll give you a second. So yeah, it's been good. It's not been a bad couple of weeks actually. Lots and lots going on. I'm really busy writing at the moment. I'm doing scripts for the new TV programme. I should have done loads more today, didn't get around to it. But I have started to put props together. So I raided Mum and Dad's house for photos, ornaments, been raiding my house for ornaments. Because I just want to dress the set with the stuff that it has meaning to me, I guess. So little ornaments and pictures. Yeah, it'd be quite nice, I think, in the programme. So yeah, you can tune in next year when we're live on Amazon Prime. So cool. Okay, so like I said, we're doing my Singapore chow mein tonight. My chow mein noodles are proper Chinese chow mein noodles. They come in a dry nest, and all I've done, I put these in boiling water, boiled them for about 2 or 3 minutes, and then drained them. Just in a sieve or a colander, and this was at lunchtime, so they've had plenty of time to dry out. You can see that they're nice and dry now, but malleable, so that I'm able to move them around. Cool. I've pre-chopped everything tonight. I'm going to make this a nice quick one. Like I say, it's been a really busy couple of weeks, and yeah, I want to get some dinner, and I'm doing fried rice and curry with this later as well, so cool. So I have some I have some carrot cut into slithers or julienne. I have some red pepper, again cut into the same shape sizes. Half an onion. I thought I had onion, so I popped to Sainsbury's today to get shopping and didn't get another, and I need an onion for tomorrow. So I've used half an onion today and half an onion tomorrow. How sad's that? Just purely because I forgot to go and buy any. So we've got some onion. In this one, it's not in the recipe book, but I've got some green beans that have just come straight off the vine literally 10 minutes ago because they're growing in my garden. And I have some dried chilli. So that's kind of like the fresh vegetables and obviously my king prawns and chicken. So if you want to go and grab that stuff together, and I'll give you a second or two and then we'll carry on. Yes, I believe these were Lucky Boat noodles, if you're asking. You can use any chow mein that you can get your hands on. Obviously, if you're using supermarket owned brands, you won't get that same taste. And it's, you know, that can be said for everything really, with soy sauce, oyster sauce, 5 spice powders. I'm a big advocate on buying authentic Chinese ingredients if you want to achieve that Chinese taste. Really is as simple as that really. Not many of these supermarkets have yet cracked the exact taste that you get from authentic Chinese ingredients, okay? Okay, so for the dries or the wets, I have some curry powder, and again use any curry powder that you've got your hands on. This one's just from my local supermarket. Some white pepper, some salt, some sugar, light soy sauce, dark soy sauce, and finally I have some sesame oil. Okay, so as always guys, all of my ingredients are ready. So I'm going to get my wok on and I'm going to let this heat up until I'm smoking, and then we'll start cooking. This will only take 5-10 minutes of prep, depends on how quick you are with a chopper, and about 8 or 9 minutes in the pan. So, you know, 20 minutes and you've got a really nice dish, which can be eaten on its own, but obviously it's nice if you do have it with some other bits. Like I say, I'm doing an egg fried rice, and I have some leftover chicken curry that's been sitting in the freezer, pulled it out of the freezer earlier, and I just warmed that through, maybe just thin the sauce out with a little bit of water. So, you know, waste not, want not. So, cool. So get your woks nice and hot, and we're gonna add about 2 tablespoons, maybe 2.5 tablespoons of oil. I use more oil when I'm cooking noodles purely because the noodles, when I put them in, will pull the oil, and but I need it to fry still. So yeah, so that's why I do use a little bit more oil in this, okay? I'm going to start off just by softening some of my veggies before I get my king prawns in. So first of all, my onions. You'll probably notice as well, if you have the cookbook, there's ginger. If you want to add ginger, please add the ginger. I'm not doing that today. And because I've only got half an onion, I am going to pop my peppers in and my carrots straight away. Now I normally tell you to add your vegetables sort of like slower, for the simple reason is that we allow the wok to get nice and hot, or to remain nice and hot. If you crowd the pan, things will stew rather than fry. So because I've only got small amounts of each, I can get all three in, and I'm just going to allow these to soften just for a minute or so. And I'm just going to add, I only picked 3 green beans. My plant is actually full of green beans, but I haven't tried these yet, so this is the first time I'm going to try them. If they're good, Mum and Dad, you've got green beans coming this weekend, all right? So in go my green beans. Just a couple to try, see if they're nice and sweet. Okay, so just pushing my veggies out to the side now, and you will be able to see this on the edit next week. I'm just going to pop in my king prawns. So I've got, I don't know, 14, 16 king prawns, and I'm just going to fan them out so they're making contact with the pan. And once they're making contact with the pan, I'm going to leave them alone and just let them fry for a second. Okay, so I don't use a lot of fish sauce. Now I know that when my brother cooks on TV, which is all the time at the moment, he uses a lot of fish sauce. It wasn't something that we used a lot of in the Chinese restaurants and takeaways that I've worked in. So, you know, the restaurants that I've worked in with my mum and dad, worked in a few takeaways as well that weren't owned by my parents. But like I say, fish sauce wasn't really heavily used. So we always used, the seasoning was salt, obviously MSG back in the 80s and 90s, which obviously we've eliminated now completely. Soy sauce. So light soy sauce will give you that salty umami flavour, exactly the same as fish sauce. One thing we did use a lot of was oyster sauce. And you can, I think in the recipe book, this actually does include oyster sauce. You can put it in, you don't have to put it in, but again, you'll just get that background depth. But because I'm going to add sugar as well today, I don't think it needs it, but you can add it. So if you don't want to use fish sauce, use soy sauce, a little bit of salt, what did I say? So oyster sauce, soy sauce, a little bit of salt. So yeah, soy sauce. So my prawns have gone pink, or going pink, and some of them have picked up a nice little caramelisation now just on the top, you can see that. Okay, so again I just push them round to the sides. And this is where I wish I had an extractor fan, because I'm going to add my chilies. Now you know what happens when I add chilies when I'm cooking. This is dried chili powder. I'm hoping we don't have the same results as we did 2 weeks ago when I was doing the tofu, because that chili literally blew my head off. You know what? I do like it spicy, but purely because I'm cooking and I'm trying to talk to you guys. Now this is when you would add your chili powder. I'm not going to add the chili powder, purely because I know what's going to happen, and I'm going to be sneezing and coughing for the next 8 minutes while I'm cooking and talking to you. So, now to add my noodles. So, my noodles have been pre-soaked. I only cooked them for about 2 or 3 minutes in boiling water on the stove. Now, as I add these noodles, I'm just going to carefully just help them separate, or just going to part them. Just pick that one up. Now, it's not the easiest thing to toss when the cooker is so high, because obviously I'm cooking on a tabletop. But if you can, I'm just going to toss just to get the noodles in contact with the pan. And because my flame's quite low tonight, I'm just going to leave that alone for a good 2 or 3 minutes. When you cook a chow mein, what you're trying to do, you're trying to get a little bit of charring. So naturally the noodles are quite soft and springy and chewy, which is fantastic, and it's exactly what a chow mein should be like. But obviously when we cook in the takeaways and restaurants, and you get like some serious heat, and then you get a charring, and the noodles go a little bit crispy. Again, you don't want every single strand to be crispy, but some is really good. So just leave it alone and let some of those noodles pick up that caramelisation and that crispiness. Okay, so someone's just asked, is soy sauce fishy? I wouldn't necessarily say it was fishy. Again, if you want the fishy taste, or the fishy sort, that, use oyster sauce if you don't have fish sauce. You could even go the Italian route, I guess, and chop up a couple of anchovies really, really finely, and then stick that in at the very beginning of cooking. That will give you that natural background salty, fishy taste. Okay? Right. So yeah, chili powder is supposed to be going in, but we're not now. Actually, while the noodles are crisping up, what we can do, so I want to cook off this curry powder, I'm going to add about 1.5 teaspoons. Now again, this is down to preference. If you like a real strong kick of curry, you can add as much as 2 tablespoons. I'm going to add 1.5 tablespoons of curry powder. And as I add this in, I'm just going to shake it in. So I don't want clumps of it. So there's 1 teaspoon, and we'll just go for another 1/2. In fact, we'll go a little bit more. So we've had near enough 2 full teaspoons, heat teaspoons of curry powder. And because I've added this now, I'm just going to give it a quick mix, because I want to cook out that raw curry powder taste. So again, give it a quick mix. Carefully just toss your noodles. And again, sort of like you can just see that I've got crispy edges now on my noodles, which is exactly what I wanted to achieve. So that's working. So again, another minute like that, and then we can add the rest of the ingredients, okay? I'm just crisping these noodles now, cooking out the curry powder, and I'm going to add about 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And again, same with the curry powder, I'm just going to make sure that's incorporated all the way around the dish. Followed by a teaspoon, so a full teaspoon of sugar. Now this is going to add just that texture. It's like it gives it that rich texture. Obviously, if you don't want to add the sugar and you want to use an alternative, you can do so. So that's fine, but a full teaspoon of whatever you're using. A friend of mine, John Cooper, has just asked what he should cook for dinner. Depends what ingredients you got in. I was really looking forward to this. So I decided 2 weeks ago this is what I was going to cook. And obviously we didn't do a live last week. So I've been really looking. So if you've got the ingredients for Singapore chow mein, I'd go for a Singapore chow mein tonight. If not, I don't know. The hoisin is a favourite. The lemon chicken's a favourite. So yeah. Soy sauce. Because there's salt in here, and I'm going to add dark soy. Light soy, I'm going to add about 1 teaspoon. Just for a bit of background umami. And I've already got the seasoning. And I'm also going to add about 1/2 teaspoon of dark soy. This is just going to help with the colour. So we'll just give this a mix. My gas is nearly gone, that's why I'm not getting much sizzle tonight. And I haven't got any more gas in here, so just keep stirring this around, guys, and tossing. Can you use egg noodles? Someone's just asked. These are egg noodles. What you can use, I suppose you could get away with udon noodles if you had them, or you could get away with rice noodles. Even soba noodles, which is like a buckwheat, isn't it? So any noodle you want, really. Obviously, traditionally, chow mein is made with egg noodle. So, okay, another quick stir, and we are pretty much there. If using meat, does it need pre-cooking? In a Chinese takeaway restaurant, we always had the beef, the chicken always was pre-cooked. Obviously the char siu pork was always pre-cooked as well. You don't have to. Obviously there's always that hassle of cooking when you're at home. You've got to pre-cook the meat, or you've got to tenderize it first with egg whites and corn flour and sesame oil. You know, I do that with the beef 9 times out of 10, just to make sure it's tender. And then normally you can either fry it off quick, or you can even boil it. I know a lot of takeaways that used to boil it as well, but you don't need to. You can just literally add it into the pan. Whereas I added my vegetables first. If you're using chicken or pork or beef even, you could have fried off the meat first and then the vegetables. Could you use honey instead of sugar? Most definitely. So yeah, honey, agave syrup. I guess you could even use, oh look, I'm losing half my carrot here. Maple syrup. I bet maple syrup would be really nice actually. Mind you, it might be a bit strong, but yeah, should be good. Right, I'm just going to give this a taste. If you're cooking with fish, very much like the king prawns, the fish will cook very quickly, so you can add the king prawns approximately when I did. That's nice. A little tiny bit more salt. I was being careful with the salt because I'm adding the soy sauce. So I'm just going to add another pinch of salt and give that a mix. You can hear the flame is nearly doing nothing down here now. So another quick stir. So better to boil the chicken or fry. Preference. If you're trying to be good, boil it. I think by the time you've boiled it, drained it, and then you've added it to your stir fry, you wouldn't know the difference anyway. If you want to fry it, it's obviously quicker. Most takeaways do fry, I believe. I know that we used to. So it really is up to you then. Okay, so I'm going to switch the heat off. Always finish off with just a sprinkle of sesame oil. Give that a quick mix. I'll get my plate. Just check the white balance is fine on that camera. And then we'll add my king prawn Singapore chow mein with my homegrown green beans in there. So have a quick tidy up. Should we do all like the restaurant stuff as well? Get my cloth and just wipe the edge of the dish off. Wipe the chopping board off and put that there. What was that one? Take a bob pooch. Is that? Needs a new wok. Can you recommend one? If you're cooking at home and you're using it a lot, I'd recommend, I shouldn't really say this because I'm not being bloody endorsed. Tefal are fantastic. Like I said, this is a Tefal wok. And I'm even looking at the Jamie Oliver Tefal wok at the moment because it's a bloody good wok. It's heavy, they're about 50 quid. And for cooking at home, and you can fry eggs in it, you can do your streaky bacon in it, you can do your cooked breakfast or whatever else. And it's just a good, versatile implement. And if you're spending £50 on a pan, you want to use it on a day-to-day basis. I know bloody I do anyway. For the taste, when you've got the heat, you can't beat carbon steel. Purely because you get that breath of the wok. You get that charring, you get that Chinese takeaway taste. Most kitchens do not allow you to do that, especially if you're cooking on induction or electric. You're never going to achieve that kind of flamed taste because there is no flame. And unless those flames are licking around the dish, you know, it's just one of those, you know, it's just, you know, who's got a big Chinese range at home? No one. So yeah, a good non-stick, hard wearing. So the Tefal, I mean, this has been used. I use this all the time. And there, you know, there's no discoloration in the non-stick substance that they've got. I think it's hardened non-stick ionized or something. I don't know. So they're really, really good woks. As much, you know, go as expensive as you can. But the Tefal ones are really, really good. Okay. Anyways, back to the dish. My Singapore king prawn chow mein. Lots of charring. It's going to taste fantastic. Please go and give it a go. Slightly different variation to the recipe that's in my cookbook, but if you want to, you know, follow the recipe in the cookbook and it'll taste fantastic, tweak it out and it'll taste even better because it's yours. So last question, tofu. Yes, of course. So if you wanted to use tofu, if you're cooking tofu in this dish, I'd probably say that you pre-fry your firm tofu first. So just coat it, you know, just chop it into bite-sized pieces, fry it off in a little bit of oil, and then pull it out to one side and let it drain. Fry off all your vegetables, all your noodles, and about 2 or 3 minutes before you're about to serve, add your tofu then and just toss it through, okay? Cool, and I think we're done. Thank you again, everybody that supported over this, I don't know, over the last 6 months during sort of like lockdown. I've loved doing the cook-alongs, and I will endeavour to try and do them on a week-to-week basis. There will be weeks where I can't do it. I know that when we start filming in October, I'm going to be pushed for time, so I might not be able to do it just during that time when we're filming for about 3 weeks to 4 weeks. But I will try and do at least 1 or 2 throughout that period. And if you can, please log on to one of my social media accounts, have a quick look at the Lamp Advocacy Cook-Along for tomorrow. That's at 6:30. We're doing a Szechuan dish, and I hope you can join us and raise a bit of money for Lamp as well. This Sorry, someone's just asked which book is this dish in. It's in my red book, and I think there might be a variation in my green book as well. So I think it's in both. The recipe is on the website now. So if you go to gotlinwan.com and have a look at the Chinese Takeaway cook-along page, the video obviously won't be on there because we're just filming it now, but the full recipe and some pictures are on there, and you can follow the method via the website. So hope you have a fantastic evening. Go and give it a go, and I shall talk to you all hopefully next week. Hope you have a fantastic night, or even tomorrow. All right, and guys, I shall see you later. I'll grab the camera, remembering to do both this week. So there's my Instagrammers. I love you, Lola. I'll see you later, darling.